All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the TimingResearch.com crowd forecast news for January 27th, 2025. We are recording this at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and this is episode number 463. And also, in case you have not heard yet, we are planning our big annual Tech Wizards event for this week that will be starting tomorrow. And so that'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll have up to 10 great presentations each of all about software indicators, algorithms, and apps to help your trading and investing. And that will start at 10 a.m. Eastern Time each day, and that will be on TimingResearch.com. So all you have to do is come to TimingResearch.com, and there's a link. There will be a link on the main page every day to join the room. So today I've arranged for Sunny Harris to join us, and she will be, of course, doing a presentation during the big event as well. So great to have Sunny here. And the option professor is back to moderate, and he'll be doing a presentation as well. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jim, the option professor.
Okay, thanks a lot, David, and welcome everybody. We had a little bit of it wasn't a black swan event over the weekend, but it certainly was a gray one. So we're going to talk about that with regards to the Chinese company and their new chip, I guess. But before we get started, let's get started on the S&P 500. And Sunny, we are going to look at the S&P. So if you can put that up there. And, I'll just share my view, and then, of course, we'll both talk. But I thought that similar to January 13th, when the market was dumping 50 points and there's nobody buying at all, and it goes right against a support zone. Obviously, that's a very excellent place to get long because the market makers are taking in all the sellers' stocks at a very low price right against the support. Well, conversely, when we go up to 6,100 and the whole world is covering shorts because of the CPI report, and the only people selling are market makers, you're going to fall under their own weight again. And that's pretty much what's happened here today. Of course, the news report was the match that lit the fuse. But, when things go up or down in a straight line and the only people up there are liquidity providers, you got a pretty good shot that it's not going to last in that direction. Do you have any feeling on that? And again, what's your feeling on S&P now?
Well, we're down against the purple and gold lines, which are my dynamic moving average, which would echo what you're saying. If it doesn't drop below this, it's just going to fly right back up and go on up higher. But
Exactly.
it was kind of a black swan last night or Friday night.
Well, I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, there is this is not the lost diamond or something. I mean, there's got to be some way of replicating these chips. And once China gets the chips, I'm sure they spend night and day trying to replicate it, like they do on everything that is created elsewhere. But the market itself, my numbers come in at 59.56 and 59.70. Where are your numbers coming in?
Well,
I'm on SPX. What are you looking at? The mini?
Yes. Yes.
All right, let me switch over.
I can switch over. I've already done it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, data request. No. How about SPY? So we're right down at the same as in the mini. This is right down against the DMA, dynamic moving average. And I do think it's got room to go on the upside.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's got room to move.
Yeah, but like I say, if it's going to stop and turn around Tuesday, definitely happens. So the bottom line is if you are going to be a buyer, it looks like 593, 594 is about as bad as it should get. Is that about your number too?
Yeah, I've got 589 at the low.
Okay.
It could come down to the lower inner band at this level.
Yeah.
But if you look back here, it goes up to the outer band, just below the DMA, back up just below the DMA, back up to the DMA. So we're doing these cyclical kind of cycles, and it looks like this one's almost over.
Well, it also looks like there is a gap that goes from a high point of 585 and a low point of 589.
Hmm.
So there's a 4 point window gap there, and maybe you're right. Maybe they goose it down there, get everyone really short, then close it above 593, 589, and
Yeah.
then we're back on the horse. To be honest with you, as a trader, I would probably wait to see if that happened. If
Yeah.
I didn't just stick my head in the buzzsaw right here at 593, 595.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you that would be the best thing, because you know what? When they do that peekaboo and then turn it the other way, that's some of the strongest moves you'll get out of that. So it
Yeah.
actually might be a stronger up move if they do dump it to 585, close the gap, then close it above 589, 593, and then you might go up and make a new high pretty fast. That's how crazy this market can be, right?
That's what it's been doing.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, there's no guarantees that it's going to do what it used to do, but the evidence is that it could go on up from about here.
Now I've got a line coming in, which is the line that held when it went down to the low of 578. So I had a very important average that I use, and that's why I said when everyone was dumping stocks on Monday the 13th or Friday the 12th, um, and the market makers are picking it up for 5 cents on the dollar. That's a pretty big line, and that line now comes in at around 578. Do you have anything around 578 that might be interesting?
The lower outer band is almost at that level.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised to see it come that low, though, to tell you the truth.
No, if it comes that low, that would be very negative, and it might be on its way to 550 for all you know.
It could be.
You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, in other words, if it's game, set, match, and the entire planet has to unwind all this stock they just bought, and the market makers are the only guys on the other side, like they are today,
Hmm.
you can go down to crazy prices, because one thing that Citadel and Goldman Sachs won't do is throw their checkbook at a bonfire.
True. I've
Because
got what
they
I
got to put
call,
up real. The market makers got to put up real money, so it's not really a negative thing on them. If you had to put up real money and you saw an avalanche of volume coming at you, what would you try to give them the highest price possible? Of course not. You know. So
this
the bottom
orange
line is,
line.
yeah, yeah,
This orange line that I've got here is what I call an attractor. So you see that price, I'm looking for the preponderance of price evidence. So it hits it here, comes down to it here, and this is the bottom that it could be, in my opinion, because that's the bottom of that attractor. So that's possible at that, what is that, 575? So that's possible, but I don't think it's probable.
no, no, no. Like I say, again, the probable thing is that everyone is panicked here. The market makers picking up all your stock right there at the support zone, and turnaround Tuesday turns it around.
Yeah.
That is it. But it is going to be binary, I think. In other words, if they can't turn it around tomorrow, then Thursday would be the next day they could turn it around, and maybe that would be right after the Fed speaks on Wednesday.
Well, on Wednesday,
Uh,
we've got the Fed speaks, Microsoft, Tesla,
yeah.
you know,
So, like I
reporting
say,
earnings.
if they don't turn it around Tuesday and they don't turn it around by Thursday, then it's not going to be turned around
Yeah.
for a while, maybe. You know what I mean?
Hmm. I don't think it'll be very long, though.
No, it's a
Just
bull
because of
market.
the way this thing's moving. It's just moving like this.
Yeah. Um, I'm just going to try to see real quick what's the 10-year note doing here, because you would imagine that the yield would be dropping as people are thinking there's, a problem. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I'm just going to just take a quick look at that so people can get an idea. Are
Okay.
yields dropping? And yields are dropping a little bit. They're down to 453. So that's not,
Mhm.
and it's right on the support too. So right there, 453, 450, that's a support zone too. So if it breaks through there, yields dropping would have a better story. And then the last thing I just wanted to say real quick before we get into the markets is how's the VIX doing? Because I've been telling people on my report, if it gets above 16, 18, you got a real problem here. Now it's right in that zone. So the bottom line is we definitely broke above 16. And today we went to 22.
Yeah, the high of it
No,
was,
no, no, no. We didn't go to 22 today.
yeah,
We
we
went.
did.
Oh
High of
yeah.
this move right here is
All
21.84.
right. Yeah, so that's it. You
Right.
broke about 16, 18, and you went into the 20s. So, that's not good because when you do and that it's good that it's underneath 20 because when you're above 20, you have a buyer's boycott, meaning people
Yeah.
don't like to buy stocks when the VIX is way above 20 because it just looks too dangerous to buy. And if
Hmm.
it's too dangerous to buy and they want to get out, and the market makers are the only guys in there, that's when you get some really, really big volatility. So I would say that keeping this thing back under 20 now that it's got above water at 22, very important for the turnaround. So, in fact, I'll give you a number on my stuff here as far as getting back under. You would very much like to get it back under 17.
And
So,
and you see right here, I even analyzed the VIX with my Sunday bands, and you'll see how it's come up above the DMA. DMA's flat, which is I call that danger, danger. So it could go either way, but coming back up to this level is probably pretty unlikely.
yeah, yeah.
And the histogram has a green bar on it, so this green bar is telling me it's going to go up. So it's possible to
Well,
get.
like I say, excuse me, on my 1 year graph, I mean, the good news is that most of my moving averages are still under my long-term averages, which means that when they get above the long-term average, then you got real problems with the VIX. And that's not the case right now. But I'll tell you, a really big number for the VIX right now is definitely 17.7. Hold on now. Yeah, 1770. So again, getting under 1770 and you wanted to get bullish, or I use the number 17, probably they're both good numbers. That would give you more of a green light. So if you see that VIX getting under 17, you start seeing the 589, 593 area hold up. And, then with some confidence, you could believe that we're probably going back up again. Right now, like I say, it's catching a falling knife, but it's catching it right next to the support, which on January 13th, it was catching a falling knife against support. And it was a brilliant thing to do at that point because you got a 200 point, 300 point run off of that number. So um, let's look at QQQ and some of these ones in the Carnage machine today, because I noticed that QQQ did not make a new high when the Dow and the S&P did. I think that was a kind of a warning sign, right?
Right.
And
So
how's your QQQ looking on the
it
bands? What's the bands
it's
telling you?
below the dynamic moving average, the DMA.
Yeah,
But it's hit the lower inner band, so that could be what we need to get it to go up again.
yeah. My thing really doesn't like that break under 518.
Yeah,
Does
the
not like 518 underneath there because I can see it with my more extended moving average. If it really wants to go into the soup, you can have a number here of about 495.
I mean the NQ, the Nasdaq futures contracts down 700 and something 40, I think.
Yeah.
That's pretty dramatic.
Yeah. Well, QQQ's no slouch, down 3.5% almost.
Yeah.
But are you seeing anything if this thing unwinds further, going down to 495?
Well, let's see. We could put in a tractor at 496.
So
And
you
right,
got something there.
right there's
Yeah.
where it's possible. Yep.
Yep. So we're seeing it the same. Like I say, there's a lot of, well, I said in my newsletter this week, Jamie Dimon said it best. The markets are priced for some very positive outcomes,
Hmm.
and that's great if those outcomes occur. But hearing China just came up with a chip for 50 cents on the dollar or whatever it is, that can do the same job, companies, are going to go where the value is because, that's how they make their profit is keeping their costs in line.
And then we have to question whether they're doing an Elon Musk and saying we've got auto self-driving years before it actually hits. So
That's what's going to that would be what would turn that would give us the turnaround Tuesday.
yes, it would. So does China
uh,
have it for real or not? That's the
well,
question.
yeah, that's true. I mean, we're still trying to find out where the COVID virus came out to. Sometimes it used to didn't it used to be that meat market, and now they're saying it came
Yes.
out of a lab.
Yeah, now they're saying it was an accident in the Wuhan lab.
Accident in the lab. Started out at the meat market, bad poultry or whatever.
Now I've been to those Chinese meat markets, the open air markets.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got ducks and chickens hanging by their legs, waiting to be butchered and have the blood run out for you to
Yeah.
eat.
I saw in Taipei, they had skin dogs.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I said that was a rough night for Fido, I guess, over there.
Well, I'm lucky because Pumpkin doesn't weigh enough to have any meat on her.
There you go. There you go. All right. So anyway, that's the story on the QQQ, everybody, if that's what your cup of tea is. And now let's go to the one that everybody tells us it's going to be the big mover this year, the IWM. So let's see if that Russell, because Russell has been holding the 215, and yeah, it's not doing too bad. You see, you
Yeah,
know.
it's not bad at all.
Yeah, I had
Actually,
great
isn't bad.
support. I had great support at the well, basically 212 to 215 level. So that was a great place to buy. And now I've got
And
some
now
support.
I've got support at 225.
Yep, 223, 225, definitely. But I have a down, what do they call that? A descending average. That's a very powerful one, and it's at 227. So I would really like to see it get above 227 because again my stuff I have shorter term averages than very long term averages, and some of my averages definitely have to cross and definitely have to be pointing up if you're going on any kind of a big run.
Mhm.
It just seems like you are not going on any big run unless we got some of these averages I work with pointing up and all going up in the same direction.
Are you using simple or exponential moving average?
I'm just using simple. I
Yeah.
listen, believe me, I don't knock my head against the wall after all these decades, between Gann lines and this and that, Elliott this and Elliott that. I follow the price and I follow momentum. In other
Yeah.
words, I'm very interested in the direction the car is going in, and I want to know exactly how strong the engine is and how fast we're going. So I really look at the momentum indicators as the speedometer in the car,
Hmm.
and then I look at the moving averages. Are we on the north on the 5 and we're going to LA, or are we south going
San Diego.
down to San Diego? And like I say, if you can figure those two things out, you can do pretty well.
That's true.
You know,
Mine is a
and,
special moving average, though. It's dynamic, meaning that it incorporates the momentum into the moving average and changes its lengths dynamically with price movement.
right. Well, like I say, that is fine tuning, and fine tuning can be very, very effective. And like I say, these things I work with are not perfect, but they have served me well, and they give me a discipline, and they give me peace of mind because I get a pretty good idea of when I'm getting in, and I get a pretty good idea when I'm coming out. And if you can say those two things, you're gonna have
Mm.
a lot less stress in your life than looking at Bloomberg, hoping the headline doesn't go against you.
Using my DMA and my Sunny Bands, we closed 2024 with 482% profit. And we're already in just, what is it, like 3 weeks now
Yep.
into 2025, and we're up 24% already.
Yeah. So,
So that's
this, yeah. And the stuff you're
not
working with
bad.
though, you're not really using the, trying to count the waves. I mean,
No,
you're kind of using basically, because your background on mathematics, you're using a more of a numerical mathematic approach based on
right,
the actual prices.
exactly.
Yeah. And so basically that's the foundation that we're talking about here. These other ones are very interpretive, and interpretive can drive you crazy because, a guy who uses that type of stuff, he can basically start recounting the moves
No,
and
and they
yeah,
do.
yeah,
And every one
and
of them says, if my count is correct,
yeah, yeah. And a
which
lot of them,
I know.
listen, I mean, I have people who are constantly telling me that this big collapse is going to come. And I say, listen, I'm sure it will. But would you mind if I get some price evidence pointing in that direction before I get bearish?
Right,
You know,
exactly.
it's kind of like the debt bubble is going to burst.
Yeah,
It's going to, but they've been saying that for 30 years, and
yeah.
they have no humility because they've been wrong for 30 years. There has not been a bursting of the debt bubble. And like I say, when it does, you're going to have pretty good trends going on the bond market. Now, of course, you have started them. And interest rates have gone from 1% to almost 5%. So obviously, the trend for higher rates is still there. And that is the way the bond market will implode, is when the auction comes up and nobody's bidding because the deficit is 3 trillion and Trump is lowering taxes.
Hmm.
So, I mean that's when you'll get, and people don't think that could happen, but a strong economy
Because
and
I remember, Jim, when interest rates were 17%
yeah, sure.
and the market was still rising, so
Hey,
5% interest is nothing.
listen, if they've got an ability to go out for dinner and it's all packed restaurants to pay $70 for a steak or to spend $16 on a cocktail, they probably got enough money to pay 7% interest.
Right.
Okay. And
Right.
that's the truth. And as far as prices coming down, as long as you've got people spending money, that means you got demand. And if you got demand, what businessman would cut their price?
Right. Well, when
So,
prices come down in a deflation, is that what we want?
and that's the other thing. Believe me, if you had asset deflation, that will kill the whole system.
Yeah.
Because just imagine, even real estate. I mean, houses have been being bought now that used to go for 6 or 800 grand, and they're being bought for $1.5 million or $2 million or whatever. Now, a guy
Hmm.
puts 20% down, and real estate went down 30%, which we saw this movie before in 2008.
Hmm.
When the price of the property goes underneath the loan, people walk.
Yeah, they do.
And if they walk, then you got a real problem. So these people who are looking for this deflationary stuff, I'm sure the Fed isn't, because every time it even looks like it might happening, they jump the money supply, which they're doing right now. Money supply growth bottomed in the fourth quarter of 2023. Coincidentally, asset prices bottomed in that quarter, and we've gone from a minus 5% money supply growth to now it's above the inflation rate at something like 3%. So it's back in the black as far as being above zero. It's pointing straight up, and you would imagine with big deficits and no offset, you know, the money supply, they're going to have to print money to keep this thing going again.
Well,
And that's why, mhm.
you're taking on a personal uh, deficit when you buy a house in the first place. You
Now
use
let's look at. We just made a big point of money supply growth and the fact that you know the spending and jobs are still pretty plentiful. So let's look at what that means for gold. GC, you want to do the April now, or you
I'll
still
just, well, we do the March.
do the
So
March?
gold dropped today.
Yeah, but let's see. I got it at 2650 as the floor. I mean, if 2650 can hold, uh, I think you can still be bullish, and I think
My
the
line in the sand here is 27.12. I'm
on the short
expecting
term.
it on the short term. I'm expecting it to go on up from there. And the DMA is flat all across here. So that makes a nice big attractor right above 2,700. Now I think we're going to see 3,000 still. In fact, I'm banking on it.
Well, like I say, I would totally concur. I'm going to go with well, I guess we can just go with the February here because it's not done yet. So let's go with the Feb just so I can get my prices in line with yours.
What's
And
what's the Fed? What's
yeah.
the
So
what?
anyway, gold. Yeah. Talk about another one that you must have some line right where we hit today at 2733, don't you?
Yeah, right along these flat DMA right there.
But you see, mine is that I'm talking about a guy who can give it room. I mean, if you're obviously doing short-term futures trading, you're not going to give it $70. But the point is, I'm talking if you're in gold physical or if you're in gold ETFs that you plan on holding, you can hold them with some confidence, in my view, as long as you stay above 2650 and also 2680.
Yeah, I'm looking at confidence at 2,700. I don't think it'll drop below there.
Okay, you got 27. Let me just see one other thing I could have here. Yeah, like I say, yeah, the other stuff I have on the longer term charts definitely look like they could possibly dunk it under there, maybe temporarily, like they'd like to do. Maybe there's people with stops under 2,700. They run those stops for a day or two, get it back above 2,700, and then they take it up.
But if it gets below 2,700, I'm buying more.
I'll tell you one thing though. I'm looking at the momentum. Just because you do have a double top up there, so I'm gonna measure, see what's going on with. Is there a momentum divergence? Because
Ah,
obviously,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and frankly, there is quite a bit of one. The first time we were up there on October 2024, we had an 82, and right now we went up at 63. That's a substantial differential. That's why I'm saying is I like the gold, but I don't really love the gold right this second because it's in the process of proving to me that that big divergence of strength is not going to take us down to a more substantial drop. And a
Yeah.
more substantial drop are those numbers. In fact, you could even, if they really wanted to scare the heck out of people, 25.60 is not off the table either.
Yeah. Well,
Now
I'm
that
going
would I like to buy on weakness with gold because if you buy on
to,
strength, you get in trouble every time.
yeah, I like to buy on weakness too. I was
Yeah.
hoping it would come down to 2,700 so I can buy some more.
Yeah. Well, like I say,
I buy the
30,
physical.
yeah, 30, yeah, of course, $30 is nothing. Um, I personally would like to get the bargain of bargains. So the 26.50 and the 25.60, those would be really lovely places to get. Not unlike it was when it pulled back to 25.50.
That'd be way down here. I don't think
No, no,
that's gonna
I'm
happen.
saying we just had an opportunity. In other words, when it
Yeah.
ran up to 2,800, it gave you all the way back to 25.50. So,
Hmm.
you take $250 off a price, that's 10%.
That's right.
You're talking about a very reasonable savings if you're patient and you hit it at the right time. And the
Hmm.
right time to me is against support. And right now, uh, like I say, we got support today, 26.33. But if they accelerated, those other numbers we're talking about would be the next logical places where you might stick your head in the oven there.
Well, we've got a positive momentum on the DMA histogram. Down here we have gold lines, gold line, gold lines, and today we have a red line, which speaks to that little down move that we got. But I'm a buyer.
Yeah. Well, it's a bull market. It's a bull market. It's just a question of, like I say, if this is just a 1 day thing, and believe me, when it's down 42, the public's not buying either. So there's market makers doing the liquidity right here. So again,
Mhm.
turnaround Tuesday and 27.33, mark my words, that could be important. If it's not, then of course, like you're talking about, maybe $30 lower, maybe $50 lower could be more like this thing, and
Mhm.
maybe a little later in the week. Let's take a
And
look at,
what's the Fed on Wednesday going to do to the price of gold?
well, there's two things they're going to do. They're either going to do what they're supposed to do, which is pause, or they're going to give Trump a quarter of a point and shock the hell out of the world.
Oh,
Most probably they pause and they come out with the statement of, we're ready to cut if need be. We're ready to cut if need be. We're following the
mhm.
data. That's what they should be saying.
That's
But
what they
you
should
don't
be
know. Yeah,
saying.
but you just don't know what kind of garbage that Trump could be throwing at Powell. I
Well,
mean, if
Trump said he demanded that interest rates go lower.
right, of course because he told everybody on the he has to act like he's doing that. He also said there's going to be all these tariffs and there are hardly any tariffs. So he's got to start doing some things, deporting people that he said, or else he obviously, just looked very bad. But the
It's too
point
much cluster.
yeah, yeah. But same with baby drill. I mean,
Yeah,
you're going to tank the price of oil, right? And they're really going to drill. Why are they going to drill? To lose money?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
You just half my product. Let's go spend a lot of money looking for more of it at 50 cents on the dollar.
Exactly.
You know,
It doesn't make any sense. I
but
look at the world mathematically. Everything looks like numbers to me,
yeah,
charts and numbers. So that just doesn't make any sense economically to say you could
no,
lower the price of
and
crude and drill.
yeah. Now
And
the other
Saudi
thing about
Arabia, Saudi
Trump, though.
Arabia has said that they're going to drill more and raise prices. So who's got more oil, them or us?
Well, you know what I listen to? I listen to the markets, and you know what the market has on crude? Let's go over it right now. Put up CLG for the February month, and we will see that the
Reacted
price
today.
of oil, yeah, the price of oil in the front month. Well, you got to go to, I guess, April now. I mean, March.
March.
Yeah, CLH. Yeah, so you go to the March contract, and what's the price? The price is at
72.
72. Now, it might have unwound because there was backwardation. So we're at 72 and change. Let's go look at the June. June is at
I
what?
wrote GC because you said that earlier. CL
CLM. CLM.
25.
That's
Same.
at 71. So you still got a divergence,
Mhm.
meaning not as much as it was. It was about $3 or $4. Now I think it looks like it's only about $2, $3, $2. Anyway, the backwardation is an indication of tight supplies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's interesting.
yeah, that's something I found interesting. But the crude pretty much has done exactly what, I've been thinking it was going to do, which is it has resistance up at 82 and it has a ton of support at 60 to 65. I thought it would rally towards resistance. It couldn't break it. And now it's coming back down support. And I got support here, pretty much in the 71 area. And if you break 71, though, the next line in the sand could be as low as
69
60. Yeah.
at the lower outer band. It could be down to 69. And that would
Yeah.
scare everybody pretty good.
And on my long-term charts, there's a 62 number. So so if it really gets ugly, 62 is the last stop. If you start breaking under 62, then actually, if you break under 65 and then 62, then the lower prices are going to happen. I just don't know that drill, baby, drill is going to be unless he subsidizes it.
Yeah, that's possible.
But again, back to Powell, you don't know if Powell has ever done anything wrong. Because if he's ever done anything wrong, Trump is the kind of guy who will hire, a field of investigators to find out whatever you've done wrong.
It's true.
And if he brings that to the forefront and says, Jerry Powell, you do what I tell you, or else this is all coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
That would be one. And if he starts cutting on Wednesday, I would say that that's exactly what went down.
Yeah. Now that makes good sense.
Yeah.
So Jerry Powell drinks 3 martinis for lunch would be.
Well, or maybe he did some things during this because he did move the balance sheet to 9 trillion, and he did move the money supply up 27% during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if all of that was kosher.
Yeah.
So
And we never will know.
no, but Trump will find out and he'll use it against the guy probably. You know what I mean?
Well, even if he finds out, he exaggerates what he's found out. So
Yeah.
there's no way to tell what's true.
It's a funny time of life, that's for sure.
Yeah. May you live in interesting times.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we got the oil, we got the gold out of the way. Why don't we hit that Bitcoin?
There we go. So it's back down under 100, just barely, but 600 points under the 100,000 line.
Hey, listen, my thing on this, I think the fact, to be honest with you, the fact that it's under 100 is this is an area. Well, let's go over to MSTR.
Mister, what is that one?
That's MicroStrategy.
Mm-hmm.
These are the guys who issue bonds. And after they issue the bonds, they take the borrowed money and they issue them at 0 interest. So get this, Sonny. You buy a bond from these people, they pay you no interest. And they take your money and they go buy they buy as much Bitcoin as possible. Now, I told people 350 was a huge, important area, 350 to 360. And if it breaks under
327 now.
Yeah, and it's breaking down. So that's not good for the Bitcoin guys. Now, let's go over to Bitcoin.
Jim, that's like taking money out on your credit card to trade with. That's ridiculous.
Well, again, you know what they're saying is because don't forget when this thing, look at it. If you saw that MicroStrategy, I love this thing at 140, 150. It was right on my report to buy long-term calls. It went from 140 to 550. That was a fantastic thing to put on my report. Now it's reverted back to the mean and then some. And now it's actually in the process of trying to turn into almost a downtrend. Believe me, if this thing goes way down to 250, which it could do if it starts collapsing, then a lot of people are going to be in a lot of a sweat. They'll be sweating quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
because the guy who runs this thing said we are never selling. Well, that's
Mm-hmm.
great. And in a 5 or 10 year period, that might be extremely wise. But in the short run, when people want liquidity, or when the product you're in starts rolling over and you don't do anything about it, it can be very damaging. That's what's so scary about the country getting involved in Bitcoin. He's talking about taking a
80
reserve.
and
Yep.
having 80% of it.
Now, one of the two best ways to get Bitcoin, they say, is to use borrowed money with no interest, which is what MicroStrategy does, because they issue zero coupon bonds, no interest,
Right.
and they
Right.
take the money and they buy Bitcoin. That's the first way. The second way is if you print your own currency.
Mm-hmm.
So we print our own currency. And so the danger I see here is Trump is being extremely influenced by the Bitcoin crowd as well as tech in general. And if
Mm-hmm.
we were to take our national reserves and start loading up on Bitcoin,
God.
and Bitcoin may still go up to 150 grand before June, because that's what that halving thing's supposed to do. But it also, after that period of post halving, it can be extremely volatile. And if we had a national reserve of any significant size going from 150 grand back down to 25 grand or 50 grand,
Mm-hmm.
that could really wreck your balance sheet.
The last halving they did was a non-event. And all the people were saying it's going to go skyrocketing after the halving, and it just sat there and looked at them.
Well, there is a 12 to 18 month time frame according to what I've read, and that 12 to 8 they did it 2012, 2016, 2020, and 2024. The one in 2024 runs out in June, so that's where
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming up with that June number.
I see.
So, like I say, and we already showed proof. It started at 50 grand, so 50 to 100 is already a doubling. That's where
Yeah.
I'm getting my 150 from, because
Mm-hmm.
it has a history of tripling. So bottom line is that there's still a big up. This could still be a great time, but I think MicroStrategy, turning down is worrisome.
It is worth.
Uh, and I'm just looking at the longer term here to see. Yeah. And so the next numbers I have on my longer term chart on MicroStrategy can come in as low as 266 and 232. Do you have MicroStrategy up on yours?
I do.
Okay, so what are you seeing possible destinations?
I'm looking at this orange attractor line, which is right at 278.
Okay,
I think we'll probably hit that.
yeah, and I'm at 274 on there. Yeah, so that's a neighborhood that I would be concurring with you is a possible direction. That's another 75. That's another $50 from here.
That's
Now
right.
let's take a look at Bitcoin itself, because my belief is that it's in a range of 90 and 100. It broke up to the upside. My feeling is if it gets under this 195 area, we could go down and fill a gap.
Well, we're at 99,
So if we
200
put up
right now.
Bitcoin,
It's up.
yeah, like I say, it's doing what I thought it might do. And you saw MicroStrategy has broken down, so that
Mhm.
might be that might be a tell that this thing is going to break down further. And
If it goes down to, it could go as low as 93 and a quarter.
yeah, or if it breaks 90, it'll go down and fill that gap at 80, 90.
Right
I mean
in.
80, 75, 80 area.
Yeah. 76. Yeah. 78 right in there.
I'm trying to get a better line at. Yeah, I got a 75 number here, which would be very logical because those were the former highs in 2024. Can you see there were highs around 75 grand?
Mm-hmm.
So that's logical. It would go down there and it would fill the gap. And of course, everybody would be extremely nervous
Oh, yeah.
because, so that would give
And
you that
then,
extra oomph, beyond it.
then you get more selling going on if that happens. And then somebody's going to scoop it up and take it back up again.
Yeah, and we had a bit of a divergence because when we went to the high on December 2nd, momentum was about 77. And then when we made the high up to 110, momentum was 70. So there's a bit of a divergence up there. But yeah, do you have support right here at 99? Because I got some
I
support
do.
like right here.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
The DMA is
So
right there.
Yeah. So, but with MicroStrategy folding their cards a little bit, I would imagine it might be able to go through that, huh?
Hmm. It wouldn't
But
be, I
it's
don't think it'd be a problem.
yeah, because yeah, if you because I don't know that it's dropped enough to really say that that would be the low. But again, turnaround Tuesday, you're down $6,000,
Yeah.
so um, you could get it. You could get some kind of a bounce. But that would sober these Bitcoiners up by going back down there. But see, that's the kind of thing you got to do in a bull market. You got to
Yeah.
buy when it has the big reversion drop.
Yeah.
You
Well, the
know,
Bitcoiners are now used to, if you hold it long enough, it'll go up. They're used to this movement all across here. They just keep on holding and keep on. My chiropractor even has Bitcoin. I
yeah.
mean,
Well, the story makes sense to a lot of people because of the finite quantity. And
yeah.
everything in the world that has finite quantity generally goes up, whether it be the Mona Lisa or whether it be the coin from the Aztec calendar, the Mexican 50 peso from,
Hmm.
1942
Yeah.
or whatever, because everything else is just printed. I mean, the stock splits is a real joke when you think about it. They
Hmm.
are they are doubling the amount of shares outstanding.
Right.
I mean, is that printing on its highest level?
Yes, that's printing paper.
And then you got the yen, which we should look at now, but they print nothing but yen, you know. But now they're hiking interest rates. So let's look at the yen, which I think is it ZJY?
USD, JPY.
I don't know. I can't remember all the symbols. It used to be nice and easy. Japanese yen is JY. Now it's got some other letter in front of it.
JPY.
Is
Jippy.
that what you? Yeah.
Yeah, this is USD JPY, which is the
I'm
yen.
just going to look up the futures thing real quick so I can get something on here that I can.
And this is the Forex.
Okay, on the currencies, rather than doing just nice JY, they like to put a letter in front of it, and the letter is J. J6H25. It sounds like I'm a quarterback playing football with a
J6H what?
J6H25.
Yeah, I don't have that on my desk.
J J6H25. Well, I'm just putting something up that I can get on my screen easily where I can look at the prices. Okay, so anyway, um, yeah, mine doesn't give you that price. What is your price show? Like one something?
Right now we're at 154. So,
Yeah,
and
I
it,
got you.
it
Okay,
looks
mine
like
shows
it's going
the
to drop a
invert.
little
Yeah.
more. Looks like it's going to drop to 153 to me.
What's the symbol that you're using?
USD, US dollar, JPY, Japanese yen, JP for Japan, Y for yen. But it looks like it's going down
Okay,
further. And we've also
we're on
got
this. We're on the same page. Yeah,
on the histogram, you see how we're approaching zero? That usually
yeah.
follows through by going on down farther.
Well, you know what you're actually looking like here? You're looking at a buy the rumor, sell the fact,
Mhm.
meaning people bid it up because the Bank of Japan was supposed to hike their interest rates. They hiked it a quarter of a point, and ever since then, it's been going straight down. It almost
Mhm.
reminds me of the Fed. They cut 50 points in September. The 10-year note was 360, and it did nothing but go up in yield ever since they cut.
Mhm.
So it's that the more you see that
It's
buy the rumor, sell the
because the
fact, or
rumor,
vice versa, the more you get amused. You get amused by these things.
and the rumors already factored in.
Hmm. That's what I'm saying. In fact, that might be the case with the stock market to some degree.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Because we haven't made that much progress since the Trump rally for the election, right?
Right.
So I think
Right.
we're they're starting to sell the fact a little bit here.
Yep.
Now they'll blame it on the Nvidia. Now let's look at some of these tech stocks, see if they're all done. NVDA, because I'm sure a lot of people are holding them because they are part of the revolution.
Yeah, but look at this. Got a nice big gap here.
Well, it looks like we have some injuries in the revolution here, huh?
We do, and this could be, we've got Nvidia coming out with earnings reports on Wednesday, and I
No,
think
they don't announce till the 26th. Microsoft and these kind of people are announcing this week. So you want to look at some, let's look at some of the ones for this week. Microsoft, MSFT. That's what I'm saying. If they get this thing low enough on NVIDIA and the story goes, if the story goes away and they bring the price down low enough on NVIDIA and they start announcing that they're tripling sales or whatever they do,
it'll skyrocket.
This thing could skyrocket back up again. Oh, this thing's right on the ledge here. This Microsoft, I got it right on the ledge at 429. What do you got?
428 and change.
Yeah,
428.70, so 429.
And this would be a classic case of turnaround Tuesday because they got the earnings coming out.
And see, this one dropped from Friday.
Yeah.
It dropped down to the lower inner band.
Yeah.
And then now we've got a blue candle which says it dropped and then has gone straight back up.
Yeah.
Overkill.
Oh, definitely. And like I say, it being here and a possible turnaround Tuesday and their earnings coming out, you know, it's and I got two averages meeting at 420. Well, 429. Yeah. I also have some action at 423.
This begs the question, you know, if
that's a low today. That's a low today. Yeah, 423 is a big intersection, and that is the low today.
If Microsoft and Oracle by ByteDance, you know, then they'll be going up.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. I'm going to check out the calls here because the short-term calls at 423 were probably dirt cheap. And now that it's already at 431, you're probably getting good action by buying the calls down there at 423 against that line.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I say, at least if you buy a short-term call, you know, it's a limited risk. But that's where you get the call at a dirt cheap price, especially short-term. And then if the thing does turn, you get a really great premium expansion. So if you're ever going to gamble, that is the time where maybe a gamble would make some sense. And like I say, I've got two moving averages coming in at 423. Today's low is 423, and that's not coincidental.
Right.
Let's go to another one coming up, which is old Tesla, who I was telling people if it breaks 400, it's in trouble. Did it break 400?
It's
just right by now, a little bit, so it could be a mouse job.
Right now at 395.
Yeah. So I got it as a problem that it broke under 415 and 410. I got that as a problem.
I do too.
So
and when it goes below the DMA, it could easily go on down to the lower inner band and the lower outer band at 371.
Yeah. And like I say, under certain circumstances, if he announces, you know, that they are still not selling many cars and people say going to Mars and cars with no drivers in them is a little bit down the road, you know, I mean, just think how many people bought into this thing. He got like 500, 700 billion extra money after the election. Well, that's a lot of people to come out. And this is such a, you know, oh, by the way, on Friday, it had the most volume of any option, 2.3 million options, and calls were outpacing puts. All those call buyers obviously may be unwinding here.
Yeah. Well, he's going to have to come out with humanoid robots that drive those Tesla cars.
But this is, I got another line here, and it's very important at 394. What's the low today? 393. So I would say the trap door is a break under 390. And happy days are here again is a close back above 410, 415.
Yep.
Would you say that's pretty reasonable?
That's accurate. Yep.
Yeah. So tread lightly and tread accordingly. You know, he's a very good pitch man. So he may announce that, hey, listen, the bad news is our company's revenue is hardly anything. But the good news is we're going to Mars and there'll be no taxis with people in them anymore within 2 months. The other thing that could save him is he's supposed to come out with a cheap car.
Yeah.
So if he comes out with a cheap car and he actually can honor that it's going to come out on a certain time because his time zones tend to be very wobbly.
His time zones are hopeful.
Right. And so, and like, you know, hope sometimes leaves town because it just gets tired. And I don't know how much hope I want to get into the thing
Yeah.
if it's underneath 410 and 415. I
He
think the only
has
hope I'm going to have is if it gets above those numbers.
he has pie in the sky dreams that
Yeah.
he sees as realities.
And I see a significant trapdoor if it starts breaking down to I've got a number here at 310 and I got
Oh
another number a
wow.
little high. Yeah, I got another number. Yeah, 300, 310. So, this could be the big spaghetti off the side of the table chart if things don't go well at his earnings thing.
Could be. I kind of think that we're going to go to 361 though, and that's it.
Yeah, well, and there is some high, you got a good point there because there was a high that it made back on November 8th, which was 358, 359. So there goes your 360. And there's other highs right there in November at 361. So
Hmm.
you've got a point. And then, of course, they would be taking out the 380 lows. So they take out the 380 lows, they bring it to 360, and maybe they have the rebound rally at that point.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But as far as making big money on Tesla, you don't get above 410, 415, and you're hoping to make big money on Tesla. Obviously, you can't unless it gets above those numbers.
Yeah.
A lot of times I like to play it that way. In other words, if I think something could go really higher, but there's resistance, I'll sometimes say, you know what? I think I'll just wait to see if they can break the ceiling before I wonder if it's going to the penthouse.
Yeah. Well, I think that oh, I don't remember now what I was thinking. You were talking and I was thinking.
Yeah.
Um, oh, he needs to get back to work. And
Yeah.
he needs to run his company instead of Donald Trump.
Yeah. He to say he has too many irons in the fire is an understatement. Okay, let's hit a couple other guys coming out this week. Apple, AAPL. That one's holding on for dear life, but it's up today.
Up
Yep.
today.
Let's see what it
Yeah.
hit.
And
Yep. That's
high,
what I'm saying. Yeah.
what's the high? I don't see it. Low, high, 231.79.
Yeah. And I didn't have anything that it hit here. I have it in the middle of nowhere as far as a lot of this stuff I'm looking at. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. The number here was 226 and it went underneath it, but now it's back above it. That's
Yeah.
extremely positive.
And this is a Sunny Band's buy signal right here.
Yeah. Yeah. So this guy here, they may have beat him up long enough. In fact, what might happen here is if Trump is unhappy with the fact that China came up with something that's kind of ruining the AI story, he may go over there and say, you better start treating our companies a little bit better like Apple.
Mhm.
And maybe that kind of rhetoric is maybe one of the reasons people might be thinking, no, not only that, it's also come down to the support at 220. So getting back above 226, a very big number. In fact, I would definitely use that as a point where I would not want it underneath. Today's low is 224. That's a heck of a good place to pitch it back in if it can't hold it.
Yeah, I think that that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah. So if you can't take out 224, but again, this is rebound rally stuff until
Let
you really start taking out 240.
me put an attractor on this. You see all these yellow dots? That's my PHW indicator,
Okay.
potential hourly wage. Look where it goes across, 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 over and over and over again. It hits this line, and we're right there almost.
Sure.
So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. It's got to break above this orange line before and it'll at the same time break the DMA, which is definitely positive.
All right. Let's spend a moment on Google.
It was up, 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 and then it dropped to the DMA on the gap today. I still believe in Google though.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I do too, as long as it can stay above that 190, 192 area. This could just be a dip because, again, my stuff is still all pointing up. So, you're not going to go down very far if everything's pointing up, at least not, and again, if you do get a more substantial drop, you'll come into the 187 to 175 neighborhood.
Yeah, even as low as 181.
Yeah. So that's the next window it could go into if they hit it further. This one did not have much of a divergence, so there's no real, running out of steam look. when I talk about divergence, I really mean the company has run out of steam, or the index has run out of steam.
Mm-hmm.
And when things run out of steam, it's like when Mike Tyson lost his legs in
Yeah.
the seventh
Yeah.
round. It didn't take much to knock him out.
Yes.
So
I don't think this is Mike Tyson, but
no,
it's.
no, no, this isn't.
I think we hit support right here.
But the S&P was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's come off pretty good. All right, we have a few minutes. Let people know how they can get a hold of you, Sonny, and how are you going to help them, and if you have any free offers or anything, let people know.
I don't have any free offers, but I do have a discount available because I have not yet updated my 2025 prices. So you go to moneymentor.com. My phone number is right at the top of every page. Feel free to call me. I think I'm the only vendor that puts their phone number out and actually answers it themselves. And moneymentor.com, I was starting to say, has all the 2024 prices still. I'm still in the process of updating them for the 2025 prices. So that's my sort of free offering. It's a price discount.
Now you also have that trading room, so tell everybody about that.
Oh yeah, I have a live trading room that meets every day at 7:30 in the morning for an hour. And last year we were up 482% in the live trading room. That's trading actually going on with me doing the trading and people asking questions. And on Wednesdays, I give a free guest pass. So if you want to text me guest pass, I'll be happy to set that up for you in my live trading room.
I think that's a great idea, and people should definitely take care of that one. As far as Option Professor is concerned, we have a very simple story. People are out there trading. They're doing short-term trading, DTE trading, credit spreads, and all kinds of things. And generally, you could probably use a little help. So we have three things that we do. We have an options master class. It's 6 hours. I'm the one on it. And if you have any questions, you can ask me the questions directly. So you got the education. Then option ideas. I specialize in strangles where you do calls and puts at the same time. On a day like today, now you know why we do that, because the puts are exploding. And we also do long-term options. And the last thing we do is we do coaching. I didn't include this originally, but now I'm doing it because people out there need some help. I've traded thousands and thousands of options, all different strategies, so I certainly know how they work. And again, talking to me, going over your strategies, seeing how we might be able to enhance how you could do better with your strategies. This is very, very helpful. So we have a special offer for $297 for 3 months. You get the class, you get my ideas every Sunday night in your inbox, and you get to talk to me and figure out what I can do to help you become a better trader. So to me, this is a very big no-brainer. It's a very small investment and something that could pay very nice dividends. So if you go to Option Professor, well, David's going to put the link up there, or you can shoot me an email, optionprofessor@gmail.com. Hey, Jim, heard you on the thing. You sound like you know what you're doing a bit. I'd like to talk to you how you can help me. And, give me a ring. Here's my number, that kind of stuff. So I do hope you take advantage of it. It's January. I mean, when are you going to learn? And in December, you might as well get better here in January, and maybe you could have a better 2025.
11 o'clock a.m.
Thank
Now
you.
that lady just told me it's time to go. Anyway, Sonny, it was great talking to you. We're going to do it again, of
It was
course.
great talking to you.
Yeah, we always have fun.
Good luck with tomorrow.
Okay, thanks a lot. And David, I'm going to send it back to you. Good luck and good trading, everybody out there.
All right, yeah, excellent discussion today. So, just a reminder too, be sure to join us for the rest of this week, or for tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday for the Tech Wizards event, and that'll be a great conference with a lot of different presentations about software, indicators, algorithms, apps, tools, and platforms for trading and investing. That'll be on TimingResearch.com, so you can just go straight to TimingResearch.com, and there will be a link to enter the room, and that will start at 10 a.m. Eastern Time each day. So, also just a reminder, if you can find the archives if you search for Timing Research on YouTube, Substack, or your favorite podcast app, and you get any of the past shows and presentations there. And I just want to thank my guests again for today, Sunny Harris of MoneyMentor.com and the Option Professor of OptionProfessor.com. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, David.